Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm here to talk about the new datapack I released to Modern Thinkers Forge, links in the description, how it works and what's in it. To get started within the Foxcraft Datapack, the first step is going to be finding either this structure or a Satorian pylon. To begin on this structure, and what it basically does, it contains a villager, and that villager is required to actually progress in the datapack. Here you can see the different trades he actually gives to exchange the Satorancy. The Satorancy itself being both a money, despite the fact that as of currently in the datapack there is no other villager that trades for it. But more importantly, it is a crafting item. We'll get back to the crafting system later on. The Satorian pylon is probably a structure you'll want to find as well to actually begin in this datapack. It allows the player who interacts with it to unlock a factor. That factor allows you to regenerate passively the point system of the datapack, referred to as the Rubidos Pestis. The bigger the amount you have of Rubidos Pestis, the better for you, as it allows you to craft and later on in future updates to possibly cast spells. To interact with it, you simply need to navigate on the backside of the pylon where you'll find a button. And just like that, your regeneration factor has been activated. Within the Foxcraft Datapack, you'll find a completely custom crafting system. Behind me you can see a full list of all of the items that can be a result of this crafting system. There includes a few alternatives to vanilla resources. A few vanilla resources themselves, as you can see the frog lights are all the way up there, foods, and custom equipables. To begin the crafting system, you can enter a command that will help direct you to the beginning and all of the recipes. That command being the trigger, Foxcraft command trigger, set, and if you do one, it'll give you a help book that instructs you on how to proceed more or less in the datapack. 2 will give you a recipe book. That recipe book is the same one I have in this lectern here. And as you can see, the way in which it works essentially is by simply detailing each recipe. Once you know of a recipe and you have the materials for it, the only thing left to do is to just throw them on the ground. And as you can see, the item has been crafted. Across the world, you will also find these structures. They are called Rubidos Pestis Spires, and they allow you to do something pretty interesting around them. When you approach them, nothing will happen to the player, but if you throw an empty bottle in their immediate vicinity, they convert to Rubidos Pestis bottle. This process can be automated by putting bottles into a dropper and having the dropper drop them. These bottles actually do serve a purpose within the datapack in the crafting system. As of currently, while you can consume them, they will not do anything. This is a planned feature for a next update to have the bottle be able to restore Rubidos Pestis. But as of now, the thing they are able to do is replace the player in recipes. When you craft an item like this, there's a radius around those items where it gets checked. So let's put my Rubidos Pestis back to full, and let's actually drop these two and get away. And as you can see, nothing happens. It's only when I get closer that the craft actually occurs. But those bottles are able to substitute the player. Each single bottle represents 1 Rubidos Pestis point, So when you get into the recipe book, you can see here 40 Rubidius points to craft by just removing all of the excess we have here and throwing 40 bottles, like so. Technically, this would count as the player being here with 40 points. Meaning if I actually drop those bottles, drop that gold, and drop the Saturantian getaway, as you can see, that recipe happens, and no points were substituted from me. This entire process can be incredibly useful when trying to automate the entire crafting system, considering that there are some pretty useful crafting recipes in there, namely the calcium steel, the carbonated blast powder, and for the redstone savvy out there, the bloodstone as well, which are all substitute for vanilla materials, the calcium steel being obviously iron, this being gunpowder, and this being redstone. It's also pretty interesting when you take it from the perspective of the block breaker we have here. So, the block breaker, what it does is pretty self-explanatory. As you can read here, when you place it into a dispenser, that dispenser will use that egg to destroy the block in front of it. Actually, the 2 blocks in front of it, as you can see with the warning. The way in which it works, to not go too much into the details, is by summoning an armor stand and running commands at that armor stand and then killing it. It can actually break blocks. And because it's an egg that summons an armor stand, by simply putting it into this and summoning it, if there's no block in front of it, it'll destroy the block below. If there's a block in front of it, it'll destroy that block. There are a few other ways to regenerate the Rubidius Pistis value. One of those ways is that structure you can find right here, called the Satorian tree. The idea is pretty simple, just standing in its vicinity, and you'll know it works once you see that title actually pop up, will simply restore your Rubidius Pistis. The other 2 ways to regenerate Rubidius Pistis come from 2 craftables. The first one is the source of the fountain. Using it actually places this, and standing in it will regenerate your Rubidius Pistis value over time. The other way is through the Talisman of Pestilence, which is a pretty hard to afford craftable, and by simply holding it in your hand, it'll regenerate your Rubidius Pistis very fast. Note that actually stacking 2 of them together will make that value go even faster. And it does add to being in the pond. This is gonna be about it for the showcase today. As I said, this data pack is of my own creation, and it is now finally available on both CurseForge and Modrinth. In the description, you'll also be able to find a link back to the GitHub repository for all of you who would want to actually check out the source code and everything running about it. And on this, I think for today this has been a pretty good demonstration. If you like the content, do drop a like and do subscribe to the channel, it does help a ton. And if you're interested, I highly encourage you to actually check the Modrinth page. This has been Eliza Puff, and see you all next time.